Hello and welcome to the Tarkis Zone. Today we're going to be talking about the game Revelation Online. We're going to quickly go right to their main website. And now when you go to their website, you'll get these new buttons at the very top of the page. These buttons were in other places before, but we now see them in convenient location. You can like their Facebook page. I recommend doing that. And you can subscribe to their YouTube channel. So I recommend doing that if you want to get updates, constant updates to the development and release of this game. Now, I would suggest anyone that does not have a beta key to try to download it, get it to the client side of your computer so you at least have it. So if you end up being lucky enough to get a beta key, then you'll be able to get onto the game when the servers are open. I also would suggest downloading it if you're going to get any one of the Founders Packs, because that gives you early access to the game and a beta key. Well, I'm going to scroll down, and what brought me here today was their week in review. I had got information about that on their Facebook page. So here we are, and don't get confused here. I think they messed up the date here because it says 02/12, and I think it's supposed to be 12/02/2016. But we won't fault them too bad on that. Now, the three topics that they came to bulletin here are the Sword Mage class, the World Bosses in the Achievement System, and the Win a Beta Key. And it says here from November 30th to December 7th. So that tells us, well, it tells us a few things. And I think that tells us a few positive things, and it actually confirms some of the thoughts that I had prior to this video. Let me first say this. When a company makes contests to get a beta key, that's a good thing, because that drums up interest from people who never even saw the game before. They might be surfing the internet and see this and say, hey, if I can win a beta key to that, that means I could play a video game for free, at least during beta testing, and then decide after if it's a game for me. This is a good thing. It also shows that the company is confident that their servers will actually be okay with the extra amount of people that they're going to have on them. So if I'm giving away, let's say they give away 1,000 beta keys. I'm saying a small number here. Let's say they give 1,000. That says, okay, we're ready. Come hit our servers. We're ready for you to test those things. And that they had many people beta test a few weeks ago, and that went smoothly. And the other thing that a beta key contest really says to the general public is that we want you to try our game and tell us what's wrong. Let us know what faults you find with us, and open that kind of extension to, well, criticism, or if you can call it criticism, or just plain out, because when you give free beta keys to the world, you're going to get age groups from maybe 11 years old to 90 years old. Who knows? So these companies going to deal with different kinds of people trying to play their game who have different understanding of computer games. So if they're doing this, they're saying, okay, bring it on, we're ready. And that makes me feel good inside, because they're not, trying to just sneak this under the rug and try to get as much money as possible before they close the servers in a year. I mean, that's the thing, is it always makes me hesitant to get a game if they did not give away beta keys, or that just shows that, okay, they're not really doing what the norm is. Because the norm is, let's try to load as many people on these servers prior to release and see what happens. If a company's not doing that, they might not they don't care, or they just think they know something that no other video game company has ever figured out. Who knows? But this is a good thing. I'm happy about it, and I'm hoping that after December 7th that we will see the servers open for another beta test. And at that point, I'd have to read the agreement I made for the beta testing if I can actually talk about the testing with you folks. I'm thinking I can, because I've used other people's beta testing in my last video, and there's all sorts of videos on the internet right now from the last beta testing that people had actually recorded what they were doing. So I don't know if they're violating some sort of no talk policy for the beta process. I don't know. I'll have to look into that. But if I can certainly get on the beta testing, do some video, I will share that with you. The next topic I wanted to talk about is the PvE achievement world bosses. The world bosses are looking pretty cool. It does say here, if you read it in detail, that there are some world bosses you have to defeat another guild to actually earn the ability to fight a world boss, and that's pretty cool. That kind of forces you, if you've got a world boss that is dropping an epic bow and you use a bow, that kind of forces you into a guild, which could be a good thing. Then that forces that guild to interact with another guild in a PvP event, and then the winner from that event goes on to be able to fight that world boss. That is pretty cool, and that's kind of a different take on other games. Now, they're obviously going to have world bosses that any Joe Smo will be able to attack. I mean, that's what I'm thinking, is because you still want to be able to go to their world chat and say, look, I want to fight this guy. Does anyone want to form a raid? I imagine they'll have that, but they've got these particular bosses that you actually have to go through the guild versus guild system. And I did see in a post the other night that they do have a looking for group mechanism. So when you get into dungeons at level 20, there'll be a function that will allow you to do a looking for group. So you would, similar to other games, if you're a tank class, you would say, oh, I'm a tank and I can be a DPS. I want to form a group. And then the system, the world system, kind of throws 4 other people in with you, and boom, you're at the dungeon. Now, you might be the tank, or some other guy had a better gear score than you, and they're the tank, and now you've got a second saddle to DPS, which is okay. At level 20, that's no big deal. And in most games, it's no big deal until you get to endgame. At endgame, that's when you need to say, I'm a tank, and this is why I'm a tank. And, because I know when I played Rift and when I played World of Warcraft, being a tank, I could sit there all day as a meat shield, but by God, I couldn't do any damage. It would literally take me months to kill a character, world boss, if I wanted to try it by myself. But that would be with somebody healing me and me just whacking at the thing. I mean, it just doesn't make sense that you're going to try to be able to piggyback 2 different classes. I mean, these games are so dependent on the triangle that I don't think it's going to really say to a player that, oh, you can tank for 5 minutes and go back to DPS. That would be cool. I mean, I'm talking end game here. I mean, if you could get a rogue class to go in and start tanking a world boss or raid boss, and then give the tank a breather, I mean, that would be a cool new dynamic. Now, and that would be an off tank, but normally anyone who's going to be a tank usually needs a shield. I mean, that's usually the status quo, right? So let's look at this achievement system. You'll be able to earn achievement points, and those points can be spent throughout the game. There are some people in MMOs that think this dirty up the water, makes more to the game than is necessary. And in some games, you could actually outgear a person doing the achievement points. PvE outgear a PvP player by doing achievements. And your PvP player stamping his foot because they're not in it to do achievements. They're in it to get the best gear possible and then go rape face another player. I mean, that's what they want to do. They don't want to go around the world and milk cows for a half hour to get the milking achievement. I mean, that's what I'm saying here is, let's hope that that's not the case here. I mean, there are some really bad achievement systems that I've played in games where, the PvE farmer or that never leaves his house has, this epic gear and has never PvP'd in their life. I mean, it just doesn't seem to be inconducive to the world environment. But we don't know what they're going to do here. Maybe the achievement points will go into costumes and maybe your apartment. Because I know in this game you can get an apartment, and I don't really want to get into that right now because I do not know enough about it. I read and skimmed over something the other day that says at this level you can actually get an apartment, and then you can decorate that apartment, and you can invite so many people to be able to go into that apartment. Again, I want to get that in firm detail before I really go over it in more conversation. So here we are at the teams in the team searching options in dungeons. I'm double clicking on this link. Here we go, group and solo content. So this goes over the fact that at level 20, that's when you can first get into a dungeon. It's par for the course. Rift was like that. World of Warcraft, Dead Mines. Remember Dead Mines in World of Warcraft? I mean, that's what we're talking about here. In Guild Wars 2, that was the dungeon next to the major city. So here it does say that you'll be able to add the difficulty up. There are 5 main difficulty levels. So you'll be able to do a dungeon that looks up to 5 times, and the last leveling is the epic. And the one before that's deadly. So I can imagine, because you got easy, hard, heroic, deadly, and epic. I mean, at the word deadly, wouldn't that say, okay, that should be the end? That's like saying that, oh geez, I'm dead, but I can get up and do something else. I mean, you would think that would be the last option, not just epic. I can imagine what epic is. What is that? Like they throw you in another dimension and stomp on your ass in hell? I don't know. So maybe, we'll see. I mean, again, I'm just making fun of these labels. You would think deadly would be at the very end. So, if you skim this, go on their website, look at it. Team search option. This is what I was talking about. You'll be able to find a team to enter your dungeons. Random. It's going to be a random group system. You obviously can form groups on your own. The top 200 top performing players from an entire server will be listed in the global skills ranking. So it's going to be a similar ranking system as Black Desert Online. You'll be able to see where people are, or maybe they'll just have an icon above their head so you might actually not see them once a week. I'm just reading here. Yeah, I mean, it seems similar to that. It looks also that they have their own Discord channel, so I actually might get in there today and see if I can find a guild, because I do want to try to get in a guild, and I do recommend that if you're really serious about this game, try to find a guild before it launches, because even if you don't stay with that guild, you'll get information if you use their voice chat. Whatever guild you go into, if it's either Ventrilo or it's TeamSpeak 3 or Discord, you'll at least be able to talk to people and ask them questions that they might have answers for. So that's always good. And if it doesn't work out after a month that you've been in their guild, then it's time to go to a different guild. But at least you've got people to talk to help figure things out when the game launches. Again, I just wanted to show you this week in review and the class, obviously the sword class. Do check out that video. That is a good video. And the beta key is a big thing, as I stated before. Well, thank you for watching. If I've bored you, I apologize. This has been the Tarkis Zone.